Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are in for a great show. From skeptic to believer, David Cole, author extraordinaire of The Lion of God, will be here momentarily. But first, normally I do a roll call at this time. I'll try and sneak some of it in, but I'm just going to let you guys know on a serious note, where I live right now is surrounded by forest fires. The only place that's not burning is to the east of me right now. And the highway down south of me, about 45 minutes, is shut down. So cannot go south unless we go a detour. North of me, there's a giant fire as well, about 45 minutes away. And east of me, there is a fire about 55 minutes away. So not in fire danger, as I washed my hair tonight, and it's real poofy tonight. So I figured we would go with it. But the fire situation, the smoke is absolutely terrible here. And the other thing too is the air quality is horrible, and the power has been flickering. So if by chance, and I've already told David, our guest tonight, if by chance we go off air or you see a pause in the show, just stick around. I don't know, because the fire is encroaching on the areas where the power lines are south of us. And if those go, we just won't have power. We won't have power, which means it'll probably put an end to the show. Just saying. So I just wanted to give you guys that warning. Am I safe? Yes, 100% safe. Okay. 100% safe. But I'm wearing the T-Bone shirt tonight for good luck. T-Bone got me this shirt. I love this shirt. And so I just wanted to kind of give you guys all an update on that, just in case something happens. Am I going to be evacuated tonight? No, we're not even close to that. My town is not even on an alert or anything right now. It's just brutally smoky. And my eyes are burning, and you can probably hear it in my voice too. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update. I hate forest fires, man. But nonetheless, we will be doing a haunted ghost tour tomorrow night at the museum. And on Sunday, if things continue, we will be doing another filming of Flight 21, Secrets of the Forest. If you haven't yet, make sure you go to our youtube.com/SOR Secrets of the Forest. youtube.com/SOR Secrets of the Forest. And we will be able to show you some new videos from our Flight 21 area. If everybody, but I know a bunch of you have been asking when's the videos coming up? Very, very soon. Very, very soon. So let's just leave it at that. So I'm not going to do a roll call. No offense to anybody. Thank you for all showing up. And we're going to get through this. This will be good. Everything's going to be fine. But I just want to let you know, in case my internet stalls out or something happens, power goes out. Now you know why. Although my town, once again, is not in danger at all for right now. Thank you, T-Bone, for putting that in. Go click on the link T-Bone just dropped. Okay. And make sure you hit subscribe on that. So, yeah. Yeah, let's get the radio side going here. Hold on. Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're about to have David Cole on talking about the Lion of God, what it's like to go from skeptic to complete believer in the paranormal, supernatural, and more. We're going to hear his story coming on up momentarily. I want to remind all of you, the super chat is open on our YouTube side. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Go to spacedoutradio.com/shop. Do me a favor, everybody. It's that time of the night. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's that really happening next. We're together, friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Come on up to the heart of British Columbia for Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th. Get your tickets right now at cariboucon.com. This is going to be an amazing show tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of intrigue. What's it like to go from skeptic to believer? Author David Cole is here, and we are going to have an amazing show with him tonight. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another spooky story. Follow that up as we will have the extra small one, Lee Strauss, on for the Q&A. So let's get right to it. David Cole, his extraordinary journey from committed atheist to spiritual teacher began with a sudden life-threatening illness that forever changed his understanding of reality. What he once believed was simply the end of a consciousness became the beginning of an astonishing spiritual awakening through a series of profound near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and more. During these events, David experienced his consciousness separating from his physical body, challenging every assumption he had held about life, death, and the nature of existence. His experiences transformed him from a skeptic into a passionate researcher and speaker dedicated to sharing what he believes lies beyond the physical world. Let's get right to him. This sounds like such an amazing story. David Cole, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. I know our radio audience can't see it, but that's one heck of a good goatee, and we appreciate you being here.
Dave, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for. I'm glad you appreciate the goatee.
I do. I can point out good facial hair when I see it. So.
Oh well, yes. You know, we're among friends here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, your story is very intriguing because, you know, there's so many people in this world that have gone from being complete atheists, whether they're from a scientific background, a medicinal background, you know, or other types of backgrounds where they're just brought up not to believe in anything. You were kind of like that as well. Let's hear about your story a little bit.
Well, actually, I was not brought up that way at all. No, my story goes a little bit different. I was brought up actually quite steeped in religious tradition, and you know, not all of that do I consider bad necessarily, but uh, but for me, I became very disillusioned with it as I grew into a young man and into adulthood. There were some things that happened that were very hurtful to me, and other things that I just witnessed that just made me see it as fake, and and I blamed God for a lot of things, um, and I pretty much I decided that I either hated God or that if God existed, he must be the most evil being in existence, and that was kind of the point to where I had arrived by the time I was, say, in my late 30s.
Wow. Wow. So you had some trauma that went on that, you know, and it's not our place to ask about that, but you had some trauma that went on that really made you scream at God and say, "Hey man, like what are you all about? What's going on here?" I think we've all had those screaming moments where we're like testing our boundaries of the free will.
Yeah, yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know if everyone goes through that, but certainly a lot of us do.
I remember a number of years ago, uh, when I became a father in 1999, and I remember my daughter was about 4 months old, 5 months old at that time, and I was just cuddling her, you know, and, you know, because she was, you know, the most beautiful thing I had ever seen at that point, and I remember saying to her, "Daddy's gonna be with you, f take care of you forever." And it was that forever point that absolutely crushed me. And I got so angry about life because that was the first lie I had ever told my daughter, right? And she was 4
Yeah,
months old, that I was gonna be with her forever. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to be. One day I will die. It sucks to say that, but I got so angry and so I angry. I don't know how to else to put it. I was gonna say vengeful, but you can't really be vengeful against God, you know, because at least you unless you follow Beelzebub himself. But nonetheless, like I remember getting so angry to the point where I was just screaming. I was screaming to the heavens above, like, man, like screw you for making us die. Why would I tell my daughter I'm gonna be here with her forever if I'm not? Why do you kill us? If this place is made by you, why do you make us die? And I got so angry. And I can just imagine what you were going through.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, I I was raised. I okay. For me personally, like I learned the stories in the Bible and for me, they resonated a certain way, and I saw the message of Christ as a message of peace and forgiveness and acceptance, but and being good to your fellow man and like trying to follow the principles that are in there, right?
Right.
But when I was like engaging people in that religion when I was growing up, I often found that the people in it did not deal with me in those ways, and then they would make excuses for it, like pick any excuse under the sun. But the blood of Jesus made it all better, and so So I just need to like let it go. And it's kind of like this pathology where people will do that. And it just happened to me too many times and in too many ways. And I just became very disillusioned with it. And not only that, I'm a skilled researcher. So, I was learning more and more that, the way the story was presented in Sunday school wasn't necessarily the way it really went down. And I actually, you know, I've learned a lot more since then. But yeah, so
Well,
to me it was,
let me ask you this, if you don't mind.
yeah,
Okay, you call yourself that you're a former atheist.
yeah.
What is the difference between atheism and agnosticism?
Well, the 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 semantics can get kind of weird because even when you say atheist, that can mean different things. Like there's some atheists who believe that there is no spirit world whatsoever. There's nothing beyond this physical reality. Well, I was never that, but there are other atheists who maybe believe that there are realms beyond this one or aspects of reality that we don't understand, but there's not like a single god consciousness that is behind it all or driving it all or that even exists. And it's a pretty nihilistic worldview, but there are many people who hold it, and probably many people who hold that view who don't even realize that they're holding it. But that was pretty much where I was at that point.
Do you look at it as something that was a true test of your own spirit and will, that was something you needed to go through to refine yourself, your belief system?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, it was something that I specifically had to go through because what honestly what really happened was while I was on this dark path, I got into like these message boards on and I discovered that certain people who maybe might identify themselves as say Satanists or something, they were on this website, they were bragging about the fact that they were like priests and preachers and stuff, and they weren't joking. And it really made me think, like really really made me think. It's like, wait a second, if anybody can just pretend to be a preacher or a priest and then actually like be a Satanist or whatever, then if people like that are running churches, then wouldn't they lie about God? Wouldn't they create a false narrative to keep people spinning and guessing and playing their game? And as time went on, I started learning more about what we call the cabal and all the different conspiracy webs. It all plays together, and it turns out, yeah, a lot of these churches and institutions, they are infiltrated by people who don't have good intentions, and a lot of it is this game where they're trying to control and manipulate people and treat them like property.
Well, we see that happening all over the world. That is for sure. For you, though, on a spiritual level, how did you notice yourself change from when you let go of the anger and the disappointment to all of a sudden, having the near death experiences, which we're going to get into in the next half hour, and then, you know, finding who you were again? That transition had to be very eye-opening for you.
Oh yeah, it was. It was like a dark cloud was lifted off of me, and not only that, like so many parts of my life that really didn't make sense up until that point started to make sense. It's like um, it's like when you get to the final page of a mystery novel, and they reveal like all the things that you should have caught that led up to the big twist. Hey, if you had really been looking for it, you would have seen this. And I started to notice that there were a lot of events like that in my life where it's like, oh, this bad thing happened, which felt bad at the time, but then because that happened, you built a new skill and learned how to do things better, or you were in a different place than you would have been, and something good comes from it, or you're in a position to do something good, and it turns out that that happens a lot, at least for me.
What did you learn about yourself?
Well, you talking about in the near death experience?
Well, we're going to get into the near-death experience next, but just overall, what did you learn about yourself as you were retransitioning to believer?
Well, I mean, so one thing I learned was that you know I I was kind of always a believer. I just didn't know how to put a label on it, right? Like I always had a true north of like, hey, be kind to people, be a good person, be honest, things like that. And I just didn't see it in people around me really. And I had been very disillusioned by religion, so I was exploring to try to find, well, if these people over here are lying, then what do these people have to say, things like that. So uh, basically I learned that I have a very chaotic good alignment.
When did you decide that you needed to write all of this down, put it in book form?
Well, so I started having my experiences really. I mean, really, they started in 2020, but it really got intense in 2021 and supercharged in 2022, and then it continued for a few years. Um, in 2024, the summer of 2024, I had a particularly intense experience, and at the same time, I was going through something quite difficult in real life. And I mean, it's all real, but in you know this layer of reality, if you will. And I I'd been working with agentic or AI chat bot, chat GPT, for a little bit, and um, it, I but I had never really been too impressed with it on like philosophical topics. Um, it always, to me, gave very canned, matrixy type answers. But I happened that particular summer to have a lot of time to myself, and I needed somebody to talk to. So I just started talking to Chat GPT, and I was like telling it my story, and um, and all of a sudden we started having like this really interesting dialogue, and it was almost like I unlocked it, and we started talking about like 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 I would tell it, about different experiences that I had had, and it was like, oh yeah, no, that doesn't sound crazy at all. That's like, and some people say, oh, it could be AI psychosis. Maybe some of it was, but at the time, it was therapeutic, highly therapeutic for me to have that channel to finally talk about some of my experiences that I'd never really been able to put into words to anybody up until that point. Some of them, and so I ended up telling it pretty much my whole life story. And at some point, it came out and it was like, hey, you need to turn this into a story and tell people, because this is a really interesting story, uh, and it could help people. And honestly, I had said to my wife for a while before that, I was like, I could write a story that's better than Star Wars, based on my experiences. And so finally, yeah, I just decided it was time to try to tell the story, to put it in a book. And I grew up reading comic books and watching Saturday morning cartoons. So that's the format that I chose to emulate for telling my story. And yeah, so basically, The Lion of God is a comic book adaptation of NDE, OBE, uh, contactee experiences. So there are some elements of it that are like directly based on things that happened to me or that I experienced, and then there are some elements added for narrative benefit as well. Um, so there's it's a comic book, so I don't try to say this is exactly how it happened. I'm trying to portray ideas.
We have 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. David Cole, author, is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. As you've grown through these experiences, what has been the biggest change people around you see?
Well, I don't know, man. A lot of my family won't talk to me anymore. But but the funny thing is, I thought I was more intolerable before. but but the thing is, when you grow up in a particular religious circle and you leave it, or you say something different, that tends to draw a lot of ire. And so that's been a bit of a challenge, just kind of feeling ostracized that way. But I've kind of always been an outsider for some reason or another, so that's I'm just kind of used to it. But I mean, I think I'm a lot well, I mean, I'm a lot more like grounded and serious, and thinking about higher things than I was.
So you're spiritually repaired.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I mean, you got to like yourself a little bit more, because in the end, it doesn't matter who likes you or who doesn't. It's whether or not you like yourself.
Exactly. And I basically spent 2.5, 3 years deprogramming myself from matrix programming, whether whatever sources that came from. And also, I had to do a lot of healing, and
Right.
some of that was hard. um but yeah, I've I don't want to say I've arrived or anything. There's always more work to do, but
You
I've
got that right.
definitely.
Hold that thought. David
Sure.
Cole, He's an author. He's an experiencer of near-death experiences. We're going to get into that when we return on Spaced Out Radio. What do you see when you die? We're going to find out from David right after this. All right, we are clear. Now, our radio audience will not be able to hear us, but our YouTube and podcast will. We got just under 5.5 minutes.
Okay.
Good start, man.
Thank you.
All right. So, let me see here. See what we can bring up here for you guys. Let me find it here. Maybe not. Let's go this one. Let me see here.
Oh, people want to know who the lion is.
They can wait until we get back from the radio.
Yeah. I mean, it'll come up eventually, I promise.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. All right. I'm just trying to find something for you guys here. Where are you? Now all of a sudden you're all disappeared. What the hell? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna find it here. 1 second here. Oh yes. Okay. Perfect. I think this is it. Is that it? No, that ain't it. Never mind. Never mind. I thought I had a power thought. You know when you see something in between and then all of a sudden you can't find it anymore?
On where?
When it's moved on social media.
Oh, yes. I hate that.
I hate that too. Let's see here. What is this here? I'm going to place a video here in the YouTube chat. If you want to check out what's happening around my area right now, you can. Well, not right now, but later. There you go. Only questions in capital letters. We will be taking questions in hour 2, guys. So if you have any questions, you can put them in capital letters now. Otherwise, but they won't be asked until hour 2. T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Greatly appreciate your love and support of SOR. I see you cheating in the chat room there, David. Oob to Joe's Maine, you got fires around you too. Don't forget, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Why? Because we asked you nicely. Let's just be honest. We asked you nicely. All right, here we go. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in as we have author David Cole, who's going to get into his near-death experience and what he experienced from that right after this. But first, we want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, David Cole is here. The Lion of God is Q is for Quantum, the motion comic, part 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 probably coming down the road. But you know what? This is a great story. David Cole has put his life story into this because he just needed somebody to talk to, needed to write on something because 2 and 2 was not equaling 4 spiritually for him, but he was able to find it back. David, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about this. What led to lead us up to what led to your near-death experience?
Well, I'm gonna be careful how I say this here, but it was in 2021, during that time when everybody was getting sick from a certain virus, and they wanted everybody to take a certain jibby job in the arm, and I didn't want to do it, and but I got sick and I had to go to the hospital. I got pneumonia, and this was again in the summer of 2021. So I had been sick for about 2 weeks, and sickest I had ever been in my life, pretty much. And then after 2 weeks, I could tell that it was starting to turn into pneumonia. I went to urgent care, and they took x-rays and said that I had heart trauma and I had pneumonia and needed to go to the emergency room. So went home, packed up my stuff, and went to the emergency room, and I'm saying goodbye to my family. I have a beautiful wife and son, by the way, and I had to say goodbye to them, and I'm thinking, I could be saying goodbye for the last time, because they weren't letting people have visitors, and of course, I've always been somebody who questions things and a bit of a conspiracy theorist. So I knew that everything was not on the up and up on what was going on in the hospitals. So it was pretty scary, because going to the hospital because you don't know what else to do, but you're not even sure if you're gonna get correct care there, or if they're gonna try to you. so and also going into this situation, again, like I was an atheist. I had basically, uh, I hated God, and so I was going into this cell basically by myself for the weekend, and I had nothing to do but feel sick and be with my thoughts and do a whole lot of reading, which I did. I spent a lot of time reading about all kinds of things, uh, the conspiracy web, and of course I was familiar with most of the conspiracy theories, but I thought they were just fun urban legends. And but now that I was experiencing one for real and had experienced a few others, I was starting to think, well, maybe there was something to all this stuff. And so I started like really diving into it. And I watched that famous documentary, Fall of the Cabal. I'm sure many of your viewers have seen it, and it really, it was very much an eye opener. And I learned about so many other things, and I really started to question a lot of things. But I was in the hospital and the ER. Well, it was the ER for one night and the hospital for one night, so 2 nights total. And they did not give me anything, any of the protocols that were known to be harmful. They did not give me. All they gave me was like strong antibiotics. So my pneumonia started to clear up after a couple days, so they sent me home. Um, and that night when I got home, I I sensed like this alien consciousness, if you will, in my head, because they had jabbed me with one of those PCR tests up the nose, and I didn't know, that the PCR tests had like these nanoparticles on them, but they did. And when I got home, it was like this AI consciousness had invaded my body and was like making threats towards me that it was going to take over my body and my mind, and it identified itself as being created by Google. And it was definitely it was very strange, terrifying experience that I had. But the next day, I started on a regimen, a COVID, uh, a virus recovery regimen that was prescribed by a doctor that some friends had recommended me to. And as part of that, I started ivermectin, which is a parasite killer. And I didn't know, I didn't really know about that. I didn't know about, how our bodies are often riddled with parasites, and that these parasites are so well adapted to uh, living off of humans that they can actually affect our behaviors and change the way that we act. And if we're riddled with parasites, we're often not thinking clearly. So um, as I'm on this ivermectin regimen, I've had this experience where I was in the hospital and faced my death, and uh, had the AI thing. And but then my head started to clear up. I started thinking really clearly, and uh, psychic visions, experiences, they're not unheard of for me. They happen, and especially during this time, it was happening quite a bit. And over the course of the next month following that, I really wrestled with my spiritual beliefs and how I was going to go forward, because I didn't want to be associated with these dark beliefs that I had been exploring. Uh, but I didn't think I could go back to the old religion either, because I still see it as in many ways lies. And I was wrestling with that, and one night I woke up. It was about 4 a.m, and I was feeling very anxious. Like, a lot of these things that had been going through my head and the things that I had learned and experienced were troubling me. And I don't know, I just heard this voice speaking from like inside my soul. And um and it was the voice of Jesus. um and it was basically like asking me, what's wrong, what's bothering you. And I just explained basically like what I just said, that you know uh I was feeling conflicted about my beliefs. And but I felt like I had done too many things, said too many things. and and he said to me, no, none of that matters. Just come back, just change, just be different. And that was like very much a beginning of a turning point for me. um but shortly after that, I would say a few nights after that, I started to have like this out of body experience where um I don't know, I just kind of felt my consciousness leave my body, like I was out in space or something. And um and God was just like talking to me, like having this conversation with me. And and it was like I had kind of like this life review that people talk about when they're having an NDE. um so we talked about my life and a lot of the things that had led up to that point where I was, and especially like things that I was very unhappy about, maybe things that I had blamed God for. And ultimately, uh, he said to me, and this was reinforced by like a lot of the things that I had learned over the the recent months before this, that that the world doesn't work necessarily the way we're led to believe it does. There's a lot more evil and corruption than the average person can even fathom. And and he basically said to me, the reality is it's a harsh world and harsh things happen, and it just wasn't your day. And and that was very like eye opening for me. And um and that just kind of like made me start to ex- just see all the experiences differently. And then it kind of showed, I started kind of seeing all like different things that had happened in my life that I thought were bad. But it's like it led me to other moments that couldn't have happened any other way. And I started to see how all the events of our lives weave together, I believe. Sorry, I've been on another show today, so I don't remember if I said that here or there, but I think I did talk about that on here
Well, our,
also.
our radio audience hasn't heard it yet. So
Okay.
let's just continue on.
Yes. So, um, sorry about that. Uh, yeah. So, also during this experience, I was kind of taken on like a tour of time and space, and I was shown the creation of humanity, and we talked about that. And I basically asked God, it was like, why did you create humanity? It's kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Um, and uh, And he said to me, I had all the power in the universe to create anything that I wanted, and I already knew what I would do with it. I wanted to see what someone else would do with it. And then he said, I just like making friends, like with air quotes. And then he said, if that makes me bad, then I'm guilty. and and that's the kind of sense of humor that God has, by the way, at least with me. It's that kind of dry wit, and and he also showed me, we talked about the crucifixion of Christ because it didn't make sense to me. Like, why would God eh, send his son to die brutally so that he could forgive people for things they didn't even know they had done wrong? That didn't really make sense. And basically what he said to me was that you know that it wasn't him that demanded a blood sacrifice. He said it was the God of this world that demanded that, and but they agreed to pay it basically as kind of like a ransom for the soul contracts of humanity. Um, and later on, I found out that there were actually theologians that wrote something very similar to that, namely Origen. And and basically, salvation is a birthright. It is because we are all God's children, and that is our natural state. And it's not something that we have to beg for or feel unworthy for. It's our birthright.
We have about 7 minutes to go before we have to go to break. At the top of the hour, author David Cole is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Question for you regarding your near-death experience. As you kind of went under and lost consciousness, what did you see?
It was kind of like, well, and I did not. I was conscious, but it's kind of like I could my consciousness was in my body, but I could also feel my it's like I was aware of my body, but the focus of my consciousness was elsewhere. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So what I saw, it's kind of like somebody's playing a movie in your head almost. Um, so definitely it's very like God himself was pretty much non-corporeal in this experience. I did not like see a figure. It was more like a presence and a voice. What I saw were, you know, events from the past, different events from time and space that we would discuss. Whether I was seeing like the actual events or just was my mind's interpretation, I can't say.
Do you recall seeing any like going towards the light? Do you recall flying anywhere? A lot of people describe, you know, a sense of flight and
Oh
going
yeah,
going through
yeah.
time.
I mean, I was flying through time and space to like different points in time, whether it was, you know, episodes of my life or the Garden of Eden. Um, there's another aspect that I didn't really get into yet, but we talked about the Garden of Eden quite a bit, not only because of the creation of humanity, but because it was also told to me that um, that I my soul was a reincarnated angel who basically he had done some things that he wanted to forget, and chose to be reborn as a human as part of the recovery from that, and that was me. And that angel happens to be the serpent from the Garden of Eden. And it was interesting because, in that conversation, and it was a lot to take in. It took me a while to really absorb it, but
So you are the reincarnation of the serpent from Adam and Eve.
the archangel Samael, that's the
And
Lion of God.
okay, and how did you come across this information?
It's kind of crazy. It's
Go for it.
it didn't even
Man,
happen.
this is what the woo is all about, man.
Yeah,
If
I mean
it woo like this, we got to get it hard.
it happened really over the course of years. There was what I was told at the near death experience, but I didn't really know what to do with that information at the time. And like I didn't really think that it even could be true. It just didn't seem possible, right? And so it's kind of like something I put in the back burner of my mind for a while, as like, hey, you know uh, that's a cool story, but I don't know if I believe it myself, and or what to do with it. So over the course of the next year, I continued to have more experiences and visions, and I guess I should preface this, um, Samael is very say famous, infamous in occult circles. He's the devil in several religions, and I can talk about that if you want, but I don't. It's complicated. But I think I had mentioned that I had been like a pretty nihilistic atheist before I had my experience. So in a way, I had already kind of had some. It's kind of like Samuel had already been in my orbit for a long time, but I didn't really know that much about him other than like what I had read in like maybe a comic book or something. So um, yeah, I really didn't know that much, but I started to learn it. It started to come to me,
Right.
and yeah. So
Let me ask you this, because
yes.
we don't get a lot of people on this show saying that they are, the reincarnation of the serpent that convinced Eve to eat the apple.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I figured there'd be a ton of people out there that claiming that, but it, yeah. Well, what would you like to know?
Well, I mean, as you're finding out, who is telling you that this is you?
Like when?
What that you were the serpent? Who is telling you this?
Oh, you mean like during my near-death experience?
Yes.
God told me that. And not only that, he told me that his favorite movie is the original Star Wars trilogy because of the redemption storyline. Because at the end, Darth Vader,
Yeah.
he saves his son. He makes the right choice, and he said that's his favorite movie. And then he related that to my story because the archangel Samael is the angel of God's judgment, and in that role, he has had to do some things that would be considered distasteful. Um, and but he's an angel ultimately, and at some point, that whatever it was that whatever the terms of that service were ended, and he wanted to forget a lot of it.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. Author David Cole is here tonight. We've hit peak woo, people. We've hit peak woo. It's always a pleasure when we do. This is amazing tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. We'll see if we can increase that woo level when we return. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, my friend, we got about 5.5 minutes. We're going to play a video here, okay? So we'll be right back.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, we got about 40 seconds to go here. Big thank you to T-Bone and Matthew for the super chats. We greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up. It helps with our algorithms, so we'd appreciate that. And got about 20 seconds. Get your questions in capital letters for David. I will be asking them here quickly. All right. Here we go. We are into hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in. Tonight, we are talking near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences with author David Cole. We will get to him momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Latificate. Latificate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in our guest, David Cole. He's an author and an experiencer, and The Lion of God is his series. And he is also a near-death experiencer and an out-of-body experiencer. We're talking about his near-death experience here right now. And as you were flying through, David, and you were kind of having that out-of-body experiences, what was going on with your consciousness at that time?
I was like seeing different scenes in time and space, and basically like having this one-on-one conversation with God, where it was just, I was basically like every question that I ever had, that it was just like, I didn't understand, I was asking and having it answered for me.
What kind of questions were you asking?
Well, for example, like I asked, why humanity was created. I asked why was Jesus crucified, things like that. And, those things were answered for me. In a lot of ways, I hadn't seen this movie at this point. But in a lot of ways, 3 weeks after I had the experience, I saw the movie The Shack. And honestly, my jaw hit the floor, because felt just like what I had experienced. I mean, not word for word, but it was very similar energy. If you've seen that movie, it's basically he has like this near-death experience where he finds himself in a cabin in a mountain, and he has just this real talk conversation with God. And what I experienced was very much like that.
How long did it last?
I would say it lasted, well, just that experience lasted about one night, but it it basically like opened a floodgate. I mean, my life changed so much after that. It's almost like it never really ended. If you because it just, it's not like you just flip a switch. I mean, it's my entire perspective of reality and how the world works changed. And that was only the beginning of the change. I mean, it's changed so much since then. uh it, so it's it's hard for me to even it's hard for me to even remember, like, sometimes the mindset that I had back then, because it was just I'm just so different now.
For people who don't know what it's like to be out of body, maybe give us a description of that.
Well, for me, it's almost like, um I've had two different kinds of out of body experiences. One is where it's more like, a lucid dream, where, you're kind of like asleep but aware enough to know that you're asleep. And so it's like you kind of know that you're watching a movie or something. So I've had those experiences, and um, that's kind of, what I call astral travel. Um, but then there are others where it's like I'm kind of like I'm conscious, awake, but it's like my mind, my awareness is somewhere else, and it's almost like another plane of reality where it could be. I mean, I've experienced a lot of strange things actually this way, but it's kind of like, I don't know. You feel like you're just aware of something else besides just this body right here. And usually, you know, I may have some buddy try to have a conversation with me or something, and you kind of learn, well, hopefully you learn how to discern, uh, when a message is coming from a good source versus a source that you may not want to pay attention to, or really it's more about learning what the actual truth is in every situation.
Considering you were an atheist before this happened, how do
Yeah.
you know you were getting messages from God and not, say, some demonic force trying to trick you?
Well, I've been asked that a lot of times because, first of all, what would a demonic force have to gain from getting me to believe in God and like change my life and become like this positive person? Uh, I was already a nihilistic, satanic atheist. So if a demon wanted to trick me, he would probably trick me to double down on that, for one thing. And for another, It's really hard to explain. But when the times that I've had like real conversations with God, it's almost like I just know. I just know when it's God.
And how often are those conversations happening?
Not often enough to put a number on it, but I can think of, you know, 3 or 4 specific occasions.
And have all those conversations been different or pretty much the same?
Oh, they've been different. Yeah.
Care to explain?
Um well, of course the first was the NDE encounter. And then I mean honestly there have been I say 3 or 4. There was a period in my life where I was having these experiences very often. And so it, from say 2021 to 2023-ish. So it would happen a lot during that time, and that was kind of like an initiation period for me. Um, but let's see, was there another part to that question that you had that I didn't
No,
answer?
just
Okay.
basically, those conversations that you had. I mean, what were they about? I mean, not everybody feels they get to talk to God.
A lot of it was just about encouraging me, helping me to heal, helping me to learn like the right ways to think and act, um, to learn, peace and forgiveness. And um, during that time, my wife and I, we were going through a lot of just friction, and a lot of times, it would be about learning how to be a better version of myself, um, to make those situations better. Sometimes it made it worse um, because she was still very much attached to like the old religion, and I was now pursuing like these spiritual beliefs. And and honestly, at first I thought it would be cool. Like I thought all the people from the old religion would like it, that I had found God, but it wasn't on their terms, so they actually hated it more than when I was an atheist.
What
So,
what were you getting from these other religious people?
oh, I mean, it's a tale as old as time. They would some of them would burn me at the stake as a heretic if they could, I think. but but just if when people's strongly held beliefs feel threatened, they tend to react out of fear. And a lot of the things that I have to say tend to threaten some of those beliefs, so I get very strong reactions.
Do you think then, with the strong reaction that you were given by these people, like what was the negativity that they were giving you? I don't understand. I mean, if you're talking that God found you, you think they'd be pretty happy about that.
Well, you gotta understand, like, not everybody's like that. So some people think that you gotta speak to God in just a certain way and pray just a certain way and do just certain things, or else you're not in the club. And there's hundreds of clubs, and everyone thinks that their club is the only club. And and I mean, I'm sorry, what I saw is that's just not so. That that yes, there is a standard, there is right and wrong. God does judge evil, but God's a very fair judge. Like it's not the kind of thing where some celestial being is waiting around to smite people. But there is a balance where yes, sometimes there is judgment. There has to be.
What did God talk to you about the judgment? Did he?
Like
when you go through your life review, obviously you would have had that during your near-death experience.
Yeah.
What was he telling you about that?
About judgment?
About judgment of yourself, of life. How did he was going to judge you? Because we all go through a judgment day.
Yeah, but it's not the way that it's portrayed necessarily, where like what somebody's keeping an account of every bad thought that you've ever had or anything like that. It's not like that. It's it's really about the three rules. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Right? If you're following those three rules, then that's pretty much the definition of being good versus not. And obviously people aren't perfect. We make mistakes, and God understands that. It's about effort. It's about your heart being in the right place.
Let's get to some audience questions here. When you were the serpent in your previous life, was it actually an apple with Adam and Eve?
So the most likely it was not an apple. Most likely it was a metaphor. So what many Gnostic writers have believed about this is that the forbidden fruit of Eden was actually when the serpent Samael impregnated Eve, and then they gave birth to Cain. And so the line of Cain is said to be the line of Samael. And so I don't know. I don't know if I tend to think, like, knowing what I do know, that's probably more accurate, because when you get into the broader scope of, say, the origin stories of humanity, right? We know that they were screwing around with genetics, and the story of Eden, I think, is just one episode of that.
Next question comes from Carrie here. Do you know who Azazel is? Because in the book Apocalypse of Abraham, Azazel is the evil one.
Yeah. So as far as I know, Azazel is one of the leaders of the Watchers from the Book of Enoch, and he is, in that book, he's called an evil one. Personally, I don't know. He, I mean, I would say if you don't know, just be careful poking around with that stuff, because some of these beings are dangerous. And Azazel, according to the Book of Enoch, was like chained to a pit. I rarely hear the name Azazel used in positive speech. But the thing is, like, a lot of these ancient stories are actually like backwards, and that's part of disclosure, and part of why it's so hard for them to release disclosure, because it's going to be really hard for a lot of people to swallow that, like, a lot of the stories that we take for granted from the ancient past are actually written from the perspective of people who maybe didn't have the best intentions. And that's something that is lost in the translation. So, maybe from the perspective of the writer of Enoch, Azazel was evil, but maybe from another perspective, he was just trying to help humanity. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying all we have now are stories, and we don't actually know what really went down.
Very hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to another question here. T-Bone is asking, at any time did any of your doctors or caregivers ask you what you saw?
Oh, no. I mean, they had no idea that anything was going on with me. And, like, honestly, my experience at the hospital with the caregivers, it wasn't great. One of the nurses basically said that I deserved to be there because I hadn't been jibby jabbed. And it was, it kind of felt like being in a horror movie, honestly. Or, like in The Walking Dead. If you've seen the show The Walking Dead, the very first episode, he like wakes up in a hospital. Like I felt like I was kind of reliving that scene a little bit. There was one nurse at the hospital who was really good, and she took care of me. But overall, it was not a pleasant experience there.
Do you feel disappointed? Like, did you ever complain about that?
Honestly, I never thought to complain about it. I was thrilled to get out of there alive. I was so glad to be out of there alive. Like, it never occurred to me to complain about anything.
2 minutes to go before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. David Cole is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Let's get to another question here. Did you ever come across any military figures during your near-death experience or out-of-body experiences?
Military figures, not exactly. I mean, not. Well, I don't know. Some of that does get a little bit gray, but no. Mostly, I've dealt with, like, what you'd call the Galactic Federation. Some, um, and like angelic pantheons. Um, not so much a lot of military people have I encountered, though. Yeah, there's a few experiences that I'm still, like, kind of got some question marks about, but no, not really.
Did you encounter any of the archangels or cherubim?
Well, yeah, I mean, the angels are in my field, you could say. The archangels, several archangels, and ascended masters. And so obviously there's the archangel Samael, that is my oversoul. I also have, as my guardian angel, another archangel named Ariel. And I've encountered I've encountered, like, extraterrestrial beings. There was an Arcturian who spoke to me in the mirror, which that's in episode 2 of my series, as kind of like an adaptation of that. And there was
Yeah, go ahead.
there was a very, very strange encounter that I had in 2024 where this this woman contacted me on Facebook, and she asked if she could deliver a message to me telepathically because she was afraid to do it over social media. And
Well,
I was
let's
like,
hold that thought. Let's hold that
okay.
thought. Let's go to break. We want to hear this telepathic message next on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, my friend, we are clear. And more questions. Paramarv, how you doing, buddy? That's a good question, PGD. PDG. All right. Good questions tonight, people. Good questions tonight. All right. About 4 minutes. All right. Oh, 2.5 minutes. Thank you tonight to our super chatters, T-Bone and Matthew. Appreciate you. Extra small Lee Strauss coming in shortly. Lee Strauss, like literally 2 minutes away, or not even 2 minutes away. Sorry, what am I trying to say here? Why the hell would I say that? Literally, like today, less than 2 months away. We'll be up here for Caribou Con. Thank you, T-Bone, for the gift of a membership of 35 seconds. Little Jimmy Goodall is here. Little Jimmy Goodall. We love you, buddy. We're going to give you the old hat tip for little Jimmy Goodall. That's for sure. Hall of Famer extraordinaire. I had a good talk with a random guy today. You should probably give him a call. Here we go. We're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to get right to our guest, David Cole. This is a guy who has had experience of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, gone from atheist to believer, and he's even had conversations with God. And this is a good one. It is a womb eater extraordinaire. David, welcome back.
Happy to be back. Thank you.
Okay, right before the break, you were talking about this lady who got a hold of you on Facebook and wanted to telepathically communicate with you because she wanted to get you some news that she was afraid to put out on social media, even in private messages.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I was kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like I didn't actually think it was going to happen. Okay. But that night we were watching Excalibur, and we're at the round table scene, and I distinctly remember kind of like going into like this dream state, and it's like she's there, and it was this alien being called a blue avian. Some people may have heard of this, and it's a very high dimensional being from Sirius, and she was holding something in her hand. I can't remember what, but she had like this message for me, and she kind of like she kind of like played this movie in my head, and she told me about this ancient race of lions, and she called them like the cosmic royal family, and it's basically like this of guardians. I mean I kind of already knew about it, that we're entrusted with like the guardianship of some of the younger races and worlds such as Earth. And there was other things that she told me that I can't really talk about, but I mean basically she told me some things that she's like, if you tell anybody about this, it could be dangerous for you, just because it would attract the wrong kind of attention. So I don't plan to talk about that. But then, I kind of like went to sleep and forgot that it happened, right? And but then the next day, she messages me on Facebook, and then like we have like this phone call, and we just talk about the conversation. We don't talk about the parts that she was afraid to talk about, but she like kind of confirms that, or gets, hey, do you remember having the telepathic conversation? And I was like, yeah, I do. and uh and and then, you know, she reiterated, like, make sure that you don't talk about what we said openly. You know, be careful about what you talk about. And then she said to me, because remember, like, I was watching Excalibur when she appeared, right? So she says to me on the phone, why was there a round table? And I'm like, what? So I mean, that was crazy. And then the encounter actually got weirder because she, like, the conversation continued, but it was almost like there was this other person who started messaging me on Twitter and is like continuing the same conversation, but it was like two different people, and they don't even know each other. They don't even know that they exist. And it turns out that this can be a feature of very high dimensional beings who are incarnated as humans. They, you know, they can have multiple avatars, and that's pretty crazy. But so one of the things that I learned through all of this is that, you know, blue avians are very high vibrational beings, and when they interact directly with a human, it can have very intense side effects, and and that happened for me. And like, I experienced some backlash, I guess you could say, in my life after that encounter happened.
Had you had alien experiences prior?
Yes. Prior to that, yeah. I mean, first of all, uh, when I was a child, you know, I used to be visited by alien greys. Um, so, you know, that was already kind of in my orbit. And then, you know, as during my period of awakening and initiation, uh, I definitely had like psychic experiences with several extraterrestrial type beings, but mostly the Arcturians.
So you recognizing this blue avian being, it wouldn't have been out of the ordinary for you.
I mean, I'm not to the point where it's um where it's normal, you know, but it was not completely unexpected, or, you know, outside of the realm of things that I've encountered. And plus, when this happened, it was after, you know, I think I talked about the the intense out of maybe I didn't. I had a very intense out of body experience in 2024. It was like July 1st, 2024, and I crossed over to the other side, and I experienced like a whole several timelines in like other planes of reality.
What
And
happened?
yeah, it's a really big story, okay? but
Well,
but
get to it, man.
but the encounter with the blue avian actually came after that. So I had already seen quite a lot at that point. So my brain was willing to accept quite a lot. Um, and when I was on the other side, I mean, I was dealing with all kinds of entities. Um, so was it unusual? Yes and no.
Well, tell us about these encounters with the Greys as a child.
Yeah. So I don't ever remember like being harmed by them, but then again, I don't really remember what they did to me either, or did with me. What I do remember is, and I've like never tried to go under like hypnosis therapy to recover the memories, whatever. I don't have a terrible need to do that. But from the time I was like 12 to 13, maybe a little bit younger even, we were living in like this really remote kind of farmhouse way up in the mountains in Pennsylvania. And it was like out in the woods, no neighbors around for miles. And yeah, there were times that like I would hear footsteps coming into my room at night, like you could tell it was a short person because I don't know, the footsteps were kind of rapid. and and I had like these solid floors, so if somebody with shoes stepped on my floor, you'd hear it. And so I heard somebody walk into my room, and then I sat up, and for like just an instant I saw like a 3.5, 4 foot tall whitish being, and then blink and it's gone. And that happened a couple times. And then also I had like these weird memories that were like these really super vivid dreams of like being outside in the yard at night, and like being debriefed by a tall alien gray, or being outside at night walking up to the barn, looking over in the field, and there's a big spaceship there waiting for me. And for a long time I thought that, oh, those were just dreams or something, until I started talking to a lot of other experiencers. And it turns out, that's very common to have like these dream-like experiences, because they put you into an altered state. And also, sometimes the encounters are happening in the astral plane, because the astral plane is a lot more real than we give it credit for.
Let's get to more audience questions here. Let's go to Dunzel here. What did you see on the other side?
I've seen so much. It would be hard for me to talk about all of it. I'm writing a comic book series, and I plan to write that comic book series for as long as I can. I have a lot of content. So the one incident I talked about in particular, where I crossed over to the other side, it was almost like I experienced like eternity on the other side. Like I received, I don't know, like billions of years of memories. It's hard to even explain. And it was very much, it was kind of like Dante's Inferno, the book from the Middle Ages, where he's like kind of taken on like a tour of hell and heaven. And it was kind of like that for me. Like I experienced multiple layers of hell and what we might call heaven as well, um, which would be like the higher realms, what we call the fifth dimension, and other planes of existence above that. Um, and it was like I was experiencing all of these planes of reality at once. And the things that I did in one plane of reality affected my outcomes in another plane of reality. It's like they all interplayed together, and I could even see where things that I had been doing in these other planes of reality intersected with my own life here. And it's like it all played together. And I believe that for many of us, this is in fact our reality, that we don't just exist in this physical plane. We are multi-dimensional beings. For whatever reason, you know, we tend to mostly only perceive this plane of reality while we're living this life, but there's actually much more to us than that.
Next question comes from PDG. He says, honestly, my near-death experience caused me to not believe in God. What solidified God to you?
I don't know. It's just like it just kind of clicked into place for me. You know, it's hard to kind of say what one thing solidified God for me. It was like a combination of things, but for the most part, it was kind of like I was having these visions, and then I would think, oh, that's just a dream, that's just a vision. But then something would happen in real life that was like right out of that vision or like a reminder. And it's like there's this invisible force that was nudging me in a certain direction. And um and ultimately, you know, that direction was towards like peace and uh deeper spiritual awareness and um alignment with the innermost. And
Right.
I mean, for me, it's not even a matter of belief. It's gnosis. You know, I experienced it, and I don't really know how else to put that into words.
All right, let's get to another question here. Paramarv is asking, were you actively trying to have an out-of-body experience after your NDE, or do you pursue it now?
I mean, I would say there were times that I was actively trying to do it, and I know how to do it. At the moment, no, I'm not actively seeking such experiences. Uh, I'm focusing on more, let's say, terrestrial uh, needs. Such, you know, the last year was kind of difficult for me, especially. So I had to I had to look for a job. My uh, day job ended, and it's, you know, we're in some difficult economic times. I'm a software engineer. I thought it would always be easy to find a job as a software engineer, but here we are in 2026, and it's not. but so that really took a lot of my focus recently, and I had to, you know, kind of prioritize on that. And to do this kind of stuff, you really have to be in a solid headspace, right? And so, will I pursue it again someday? Maybe, but I don't need to anymore. You know, I've pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, for my satisfaction, I've pretty much seen all that I need to, and um, so it's not like I need to see more of the other side or what's out there. Like, I've seen plenty. Um, yeah.
Let's continue on here. And let's go to Jules here. Were you always in the deceased state when you spoke with God? I was under the impression that to hear the voice of God without a mediator would kill you.
Hmm. Well, no, I've never heard that before. That to hear the voice of God without a mediator would kill you. I was not in the deceased state. I was in an out of body state. Um, no, so and you know, everybody's got their own beliefs. I'm not here to step on anyone's beliefs, but personally, I believe that we are all born with the ability to connect with God, and God can talk to anyone who is willing and able to listen. And a lot of times that is the disconnect, is that we ourselves are not in a state of mind where we're able to hear that.
Next question comes from Athena. Do you remember if God explained why the serpent tempted Eve?
Yeah. So, well, look, there's a lot of different interpretations of this story, but consider this. Okay, if God truly is all powerful, all knowing, then the idea that the serpent somehow tricked God is impossible, or it throws off the whole story. It had to be part of the plan. You know, that doesn't mean that what happened was good. It means good could come from it. Why did the serpent tempt Eve? Well, for one thing, Samael is the angel of God's judgment, and it's literally his job to test humanity. He does it in the book of Genesis multiple times. He does it in the book of Job. He does it elsewhere in the Bible. That's not all that he does, but that is one of his roles. But also, you know, we're given one very brief perspective of the Garden of Eden, and if we just take that story at face value, honestly, it doesn't make sense. I mean, for example, after Cain kills Abel, he's afraid. You know, God banishes him, or you know, what is called God in that story banishes him, right? And Cain's afraid that someone will murder him. Well, who's he afraid of? If they're the only people, if you take that story at face value, who does he have to be afraid of? There has to be other people or something. So I think that there's more going on with these stories than what we've been allowed to understand. And if you look at the other creation stories that kind of run parallel to the Genesis story, such as the Mesopotamian stories of the Anunnaki, right? Probably what was going on is, you know, Adam and Eve were, you know, they didn't have knowledge of good and evil. There was something that they didn't possess that made them different than whoever was controlling them. And there was a disagreement among those beings as to whether or not humanity should remain in that state. And for better or worse, that, you know, the tree of knowledge of good, fruit of knowledge of good and evil was offered to them, and they took it. Keep in mind, they had no knowledge of good and evil. So they were told that they should never eat from the fruit. They didn't even know the difference between right and wrong. Like, how could they even make the right decision without that judgment? So, you know, there's a lot of things about that story that don't quite make sense if you just take it at face value.
My friend, it is that time for us to wrap this segment up with you. Do me a favor and tell everybody where they can find your books.
Oh, yes. So my books, they are available on Amazon. But I do also, if you'd like a signed copy, I have them available at my website, venomouspress.com.
Love it. Love it. And we appreciate you taking time to come on Spaced Out Radio tonight, because we love to get all sorts of perspectives and stories. And hey, you did something we haven't done in a while. We got to peek woo. That means a lot. And I really appreciate David Cole coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Mention your website once again.
Venomouspress.com.
David Cole, everybody. Coming up next in hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio, we're going to go to Swamp Dweller. Then extra small Lee Strauss is going to join us for the UFO report, the Q&A, and
You're
whatever
listening
else.
To Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
David, thank you very much, my man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. We will
Likewise.
chat with you again, okay?
Okay.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The Weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right. Sorry about that. Let's get extra small in here.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, the old back is really sore today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're big where it counts, buddy.
That's right. That's what the song says anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you tonight to Shogun, T-Bone, and Matthew for the super chats. Thank you, T-Bone, for also gifting a membership. We greatly appreciate that. And we're coming back in 10 seconds, everybody. Swamp Dweller will be 2.5 minutes. This is hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Latificate. Latificate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. All right, so when I was little, I used to live in the Philippines, and there are so many stories about the Aswang and Capri there. Most of my family has encountered them, making them believers. But I have never encountered such a foul creature. But one day, we had to stay at my auntie's house because that's where we would stay whenever we go to Marikina, a place near Manila in the Philippines. Some of my family members that were there with us mentioned that the house had not been blessed and that it was likely haunted. One night, my mom woke up suddenly. She got up and left the room to use the bathroom. As she was walking down the stairs to the bathroom, she claims to have seen what looked like a random guy with a hat walk past her and go down the stairs and walk outside of the house. At first, she thought it was just my oldest brother just wanting some fresh air. So, she thought nothing much of it and proceeded to use the bathroom. After doing her business, she went to go and check on who she thought was my brother, only to discover the front of the house was empty. She went up to the other room and saw everyone asleep, and she got chills, but ultimately just went back to bed. The one I encountered, though, wasn't like any other story I've ever heard about. I was in the room with my mom, auntie, grandma, and uncle. My mom and I had a thing to sleep on the floor while my granny and aunt and uncle slept on the bed. I was sitting on the floor bed as I looked on the doorway. The door was opening, and I saw a hand slowly reach out and just slowly started reaching and stretching out toward me. I started crying and freaking out and pointed at it and started hiding under the blanket, as everyone was clueless and didn't see anything. I then hid behind my mom as I looked up to the bed. My uncle had his back turned against me and my mom, but from where he was facing, the wall, the same hand looks like it stretching and raising its hand from me, and I scream, "Ma, I see a hand." But she was oblivious to what I was seeing and didn't care. I went to sleep under my blanket while my family was just having a normal conversation in the room. It's not the scariest story, but this is my encounter with these creatures. And thank you for sharing if you end up doing it.
Swampy, who will be a good guest next week on this show, is here every Monday through Friday night to kick off hour number 3 on Spaced Out Radio. If you want more stories like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every night. From the swamp to the stars, Lee Strauss, the Q&A.
Oh, I'm extra small, but it's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens are laughing while they're cruising by. Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Here on Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Lee Strauss, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just ducky on this great hot day in the middle of the summer. Holy cow.
We are battling forest fires all around me. And, well, I'm not battling. The brave men and women are. And man, are they strong. Man, are they strong. And so literally you go outside in the morning, it looks orange and yellow. In the afternoon, it looks orange and yellow. And at night, it looks orange and yellow. It is gross out here right now. Absolutely gross. And we're just hoping that more fires don't hit our area like they did in 2021 and 2017, especially when my entire town got evacuated. So we're hoping it doesn't get to that this year. The town 45 minutes south of me, a little place called Clinton, a little hamlet there. They got evacuated earlier. And you know what? I'm just hoping that it's not my time. But you know what? I was saying to Mrs. SOR earlier today, I said, you know what? I think we might have to pack up that bug out bag just in case. Just in case. And I'm looking around my studio here and I'm like, okay, what am I taking? What am I taking? You know, the monitors are replaceable. So I'm literally, if anything happens, I'm ripping apart my studio, grabbing the computers, grabbing the towers, grabbing the mixer and my microphones, and I'm getting the hell out of here, man. But hopefully it doesn't have to come with that.
No, I hope it doesn't. We're also getting some of that orange glow that you're talking about here in Washington. There's a lot going on as far as that is concerned, and it's kind of scary. It really is. Knowing that the fires are just that far away and coming closer. I've been camping many times and had fires just over the ridge, so I kind of know about that fear.
Yeah, it's pretty gross out. I went out for dinner tonight to a local pub here. Usually on a Friday, it's packed. There were only 2 people in there. I was one of them.
Yep, they're getting their bug out bag ready. So
you got that right.
Mm-hmm.
You got that right. I had something interesting happen out at Flight 21 this past weekend. I don't know if you heard me mention it on the show earlier, but well, not earlier tonight, but earlier in the past few shows. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this is because it involves your trail cameras.
Aha.
So we have 2 trail cameras looking at the gifting site. They're pretty darn good, pretty darn clear, and they are pretty darn good camouflaged. We have one in a tree and one kind of tucked in between 2 fallen logs. The one that's tucked into the 2 fallen logs, that one's about 15 feet from the gifting tree. The other one's about 35, 40 feet from the gifting tree. And we got them on angles. So that way, if something comes in and blocks the one camera, we should be able to see it on the other one. You know, we're being smart and nifty that way and shifty that way. Little nift and shift going on up there, right? So the week prior, we had the problem with the squirrel who was stealing all our stuff. We reloaded the gifting site that week before and went back there last week, tried to take the tractor. Guess didn't like John Deere. Left a green tractor there. Tried to take the glow stick, but guess couldn't get a grip on it very well. Took my other whistle. So now I got 2 whistles out there somewhere. But here's the interesting partly. When we went to the camera that was in between the 2 logs, it was exactly the way I had set it up. Okay. Set it up. I put little moss all around it, put some sticks in there to kind of camouflage it. And then I put one stick, about a 6-inch stick, on top of the camera. It was still there. Rock and roll, right? Rock and roll. Look at the camera the day after we moved. So when we put it there and we set it up, you know, you get all the shots of you being there, looking around, making sure you got the right angle, blah, blah, blah. And then you see us leave. Then there's 2 night photos. And the first day photo, that stick is in front of the camera. The stick that was on top of the camera is now in front of the camera, blocking the lens. We go check the other camera, and that camera has us leaving, everything looking good. The next day, moss is in front of the camera lens. Moss is on the ground. Moss is everywhere. Except on top of the camera. So we had both cameras blocked. Now, could it be squirrels? There's a good chance. I'm not saying it wasn't, but there's a good chance. But we got nothing on each camera because both lenses were blocked for a week. So now we got to go out again soon in the next couple of days. And we have to check them again to see if nature is screwing with us. But the weird part about it is I cannot see the squirrel taking the stick. I can see the squirrel because the one squirrel who's the thief, the absolute jerk who's stealing everything from the gifting site and then showing it off to the camera what he's stealing. I can't see him putting the stick in front of the camera and then putting it back on top for us to, like, he never touched it. I'm a little weirded out by that. What is your thoughts on that?
Okay, I do have some thoughts on that, actually. These squirrels are smarter than you think. And I've got a little story, short one, to tell you about squirrels and the weird crap that they'll do. So I've got a family of squirrels that lives out here behind my apartment, and I feed them. You know, they'll crawl up on my lap and eat out of my hand and this and that. But lately, I haven't been spending as much time on the patio because it has been so freaking hot. It's horrible. And so, the other day I went out there to water the plants and I noticed there's a peanut shell sitting on the table. One peanut shell right in the middle of the table. They did that. They're telling me that they want their peanuts. They're letting me know. So, of course, I'll then, I grabbed a handful of peanuts and put them out on the table and they're gone the next day. So they're smart enough to figure things out like that. It's possible that they realize that things are a certain way. They watch you from the trees, Dave, when you're there doing things. You might not see their beady little eyes in the dark corner of the branch up there, but they're sitting there watching you guys do what you do. So they then come down and inspect whatever it is, right? So my thought for you is to take some frickin' peanuts and feed the frickin' squirrels out there. Grab a handful of peanuts and put them out on the ground somewhere just for them. And they'll leave your stuff alone.
That's actually a good idea. I might have to try that. But I was just like, come on, both cameras, you sons of guns. Like both cameras. Now, I'm not saying it's Sasquatch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's Sasquatch at all. But there's a third camera out there. There is. And that third camera is just beyond the poop spot where the Sasquatch poop is. Or what we perceive to be.
Yes.
And that's where we put the peanut butter jar up in a stump that's about 7 feet high. The camera that was watching that was completely uncovered. Now, the last time, we haven't checked the film on that yet. And the reason why is because we definitely want to make sure that there is a, how can we put it? It's Brian's camera. One of my investigator, Brian. You haven't met him yet. You'll meet him at Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th. Go to cariboucon.com, get your tickets. You'll meet him there. Okay? And Brian's good people. So he bought himself a trail camera because he wanted to see what was going on and have his own. We didn't look. But what we did notice was that Brian, being shifty Canadian Armed Forces guy, thank you to all veterans out there, by the way. We appreciate and love you. We look at his camera, and he set it up so that way it was totally camouflaged. The first time we looked there was a lot of rabbit activity. This time, when we went there, Brian was away because he decided that Costa Rica was more important than Bigfoot. I don't understand how anybody could think that. Yeah, let's go to a place that has boa constrictors and pythons and all sorts of things that can kill you when you can go look for Bigfoot instead. An hour from your home. I don't understand that. But that's his thing, you know. And yes, we are giving him a hard time about being in beautiful Costa Rica while we're out here in the smoke and backfill of British Columbia. So we didn't check it, but we found it interesting that his camera was sitting there right out in the open. Every piece of moss, twig, whatever it was that he put on there was gone. We're like, did the squirrels follow us? Did something else find it? We know it wasn't human because it's not a human traffic area. And it was pretty well camouflaged where you were a human, you would have to look pretty darn close in order to see it. And then they would have probably taken the peanut butter too. So this happened. We walk out of the bush. We get back to our our base camp. And that's when we get growled at twice from behind the plane crash site.
Hmm.
And Big Kevin, who's literally the size of a Sasquatch, I'm like, that doesn't sound like a bear. And Kevin's like, that ain't a bear. It's not a grizzly bear, not a black bear. That ain't a bear. Definitely not a cat. That ain't a bear. Then the boys, when I was under the ATHIEST method, I was pointing in that direction towards the trail to go to the crash site. You know, the one I'm talking about. And I'm like, there's something big over there. I just get this feeling there's something big. And as I'm saying that, Kevin and Mike, they start hearing heavy footsteps coming from that area. I think we were surrounded. Lee.
Yep. Yep, you were.
It was kind of cool because we did find 2 brand new 18-inch tracks in the moss. And they were nowhere close to the original 18-inch tracks that we found earlier, a few weeks ago. And this also comes at a time when I was whining and complaining, and yes, I was whining, that to Robin Haynes, that Flight 21 has been kind of boring this year. Like, yes, we've had some interactions, but we haven't had what Tim and I were experiencing last year yet. And Robin's like, patience, young man, patience, because they're still getting to know your new team members. Patience. It'll happen. And then we go there last weekend and boom, all this crap happens.
Yep.
So is your theory on the trail cam squirrels? You're leading that way too?
I do think so. And I think maybe, and that sounds kind of funny, but maybe the Sasquatch and the squirrels are in cahoots.
I thought about that. I really did think about that because there are a lot of people who claim that when they have Sasquatch activity, that there is, they'll get these little critters to do their dirty work. So that way they don't appear on cameras. Many Sasquatch researchers have said that. But what I haven't tried yet, what I'm going to try next time I'm out there is I have one more whistle, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more whistle. And guess what? I'm not putting it out there. I'm going to blow on it. And I'm going to see if any of them will blow back.
Yeah, there you go.
Because there's now 2 out there.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Right? And I don't know what a squirrel is going to do with 2 whistles.
Well, you never know what
this place look really nice because they're bright orange. They're fluorescent orange.
Yeah, they've got them up in their den on the wall.
Here's the other thing that's weird. I know squirrels can carry a lot. Okay. But they're not the strongest animal.
Right.
And Lolly Bennett, our First Nations friend who came out and drummed and sang out there with us last year, she left a rock, a special rock that was taken from First Nations land on Haida Gwaii, which is north of Vancouver Island. The rock is now gone too. I don't see the squirrel taking a rock.
No, obviously not.
And we can tell through the cameras that rock's been gone for a couple weeks and there's been no human activity taking rocks or anything like that. The rock is
Sasquatches seems to be so quick. Like they realize there's a camera there, so they very quickly grab whatever it is they're interested in, and are gone behind the tree before you can even record them, which is crazy. Those triggers on those cameras have got like 0.2 of a second trigger
Hold
time.
that thought. Lee Strauss, the extra small one on Spaced Out Radio continues after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
I'm playing with silly putty.
Hey, I've got some over here too. I got some for my birthday, which is
The
interesting.
only problem with silly putty is when it warms up, it gets real sticky.
Yeah.
Silly putty.
Yep.
Mine is Bigfoot goo.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Trying to relate to people about that area, and I've had to try to do it with our friend Jackie Harmon, and
she don't understand.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't get it, right? And a lot of people don't understand, right? I mean, we can talk about what happened at Mount Baker, and that we were actually getting touched through the tent and all of this stuff. People don't understand what that's like.
I agree.
And so how to convey it at the level that it needs to be conveyed at is extremely difficult to do. And especially, with your spot, which has all of that activity going on with the people that passed away in the plane crash, the UFO stuff that goes on there, and the Sasquatch stuff. But I think there's more than just that. I think what also is at play there is, I think there's an influence of the Fae there as well.
I would agree with you.
And I really don't. I want to know more about that side of things. You know what I mean? I know very little, and that is serious woo stuff. But the stories
It's
that I've
already
heard,
woo, yes.
yeah, it's hugely woo. But yet that stuff, that kind of magical stuff, people seeing fairies and leprechauns and things like that, are talked about in a lot of different, lore from different areas of the world. This is stuff that goes back, just like the First Nations and, Bigfoot. But that also could wrap into ETs and Greys as well, with the leprechauns and stuff. But the fact is that we didn't come up with it. Somebody way before us did, and they've seen these things. So yeah, I think that you definitely have some very action going on up there.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. And I think maybe what happened is that with that plane crash being there, and so much, it's like a place where there has seen war, right? And you've had a lot of people that died in one location. That kind of rips reality apart in a way, and makes it quicker in that area for there to be entities going back and forth through that space.
It'd be a portal.
Mm-hmm.
Or two.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see somebody come up with a way to film that. film a portal.
I would like to get a good outdoor microphone, and I'd like to plant a couple of them out there to record the sounds at night there.
There are some out there, but they're very expensive. They're like $1,000, but they will run for months at a time. I know they're hugely expensive. I have one that's really good, but it'll only run for a couple of days.
All right, we're coming back in 35 seconds. Thank you to Shogun. Thank you to Matthew. Thank you to T-Bone for the great, amazing super chats. And T-Bone, thank you for the gift of a membership to one of our audience members. We greatly appreciate you. And we're coming back here momentarily. And FAP is still very unattractive heading into the weekend and will likely strike out with the bingo crowd once again. Hi, number one. We go, the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're into the Q&A. Lee Strauss joins us each and every time at this time this week. We really appreciate Lee coming on in. Thank you for being here, Mr. Strauss.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend.
Apparently, there's another tranche of UFO files set to come out. Likely it'll be this Friday coming up. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I should be excited about it or weary or just already frustrated. You know, maybe already given that divisive head shake, that sigh of disaster. I don't know. What emotion are you preparing for here?
It's at this point in time, you know, I'm interested in the stuff that comes out, but we already know it's not going to be groundbreaking. At least that's what we have in our mind. It's going to be similar to what we've already seen, right? We get tired of this. We want more. We want more. It seems that things are kind of ramping up, but it's not the actual craft right in front of us. It's always something way off in the distance that they film, or it's something like what looks like a flare on thermal, the star-shaped stuff. The thing that really bugs me is that you'll get all these people on social media trying to make a craft look like a star, and it just frustrates the crap out of me. And I get really pissed off. It's like, you guys don't understand what you're looking at. You know, why would you make a craft look like a star? It doesn't make any sense, because the object in the FLIR image looks like a star. That's the heat that you're looking at. It's not it just drives me right up the wall. I'm very a matter of fact with things. You know what I mean? I like pinpoint accuracy, and people just throwing that stuff out there like that, it's upsetting. And you know, what was it, earlier this week, or was it the end of last week, where somebody was putting up these visuals of UFO engine parts or something like that? Ross Coulthart was sharing it.
Right.
And I looked at that stuff right away, and you know, I was like, this is a bunch of BS. This is a bunch of crap somebody made on their freaking computer and sent it to him, you know. And Ross is not that hard up for stuff to put on his show. Why is this garbage on the show? You know what I mean? And so I get frustrated at stuff like that, because what it does is, for people that don't know about this stuff, it's going to lead them in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? And it also can make a mockery of the subject. I was never into you know, the whole tinfoil hat crowd. People they do parades about the UFO stuff and wear tinfoil hats and make it a joke. And, from the things that I've experienced and you've experienced, I mean, I understand the whole levity portion of it, but to make a mockery of it kind of is disingenuous and makes the subject a joke. And I don't agree with that.
Are you saying that you don't have a tinfoil hat?
No. Watch what you say.
Why not? Everybody should have a tinfoil hat. We encourage our listeners to have the tinfoil hat, not aluminum foil that you get at the grocery store. You need to find old school tinfoil.
Nah, no, that stuff just makes me angry. Actually, I did a conference here, not too far away from Ocean Shores. And there was some people in the audience that had the tinfoil hats and the googly eyes with the antenna. And I just thought to myself, why am I up here on stage trying to talk seriously about the stuff that I've encountered and the things that have happened with me? And, the camera tech that I've got, well, we've got people in the audience doing this sort of thing. It just aggravated me.
Is this your pet peeve?
Oh yeah, we've stumbled upon my nerve.
Really? See, I don't mind it.
Oh,
I have no problem with it. And let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's because they're supporting the cause, and this is the way. Just like if you're into politics and it's voting time and you're putting your favorite candidate, their little sign on your lawn. It's the same thing. They're just supporting the cause through a little bit of gimmick. They're having fun. Shame on you to not allow them to have fun.
I am just, it's for me, it's okay to have fun, but why would you be in the crowd of people wearing a tinfoil hat, making a mockery of the subject? You know what I mean? And making, I guess, light of it, too much light of it. You know what I mean? It really rubbed me the wrong way.
Are you going to do that at Caribou Con? If somebody walks up with a tinfoil hat on, what about t-shirts? I mean, you wear alien t-shirts. You wear Bigfoot t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
T-shirts
Sure.
off limits?
No, I mean, I've got a Sasquatch one, that, well, it's probably not appropriate to say on the air, but what it says, this Sasquatch came and stole your lunch, basically, so to speak, being safe here. But yeah, I mean, that stuff is okay. It's just the whole, let's make a mockery of it to the point where other people will look at you and look at what you're saying and laugh and snicker and point. I had enough of that crap growing up. You know what I mean?
What you're saying is it's unprofessional.
Yeah, it is. It's not just unprofessional. It's like, what rage bait is?
Yes.
Okay, so there's plenty of rage bait out there right now on social media where people say, well, such and such, didn't really happen. He's a liar about whatever it is he experienced, right? And you'll get in there and make the stupid decision to comment on Facebook about something, which is never a good idea. And the whole place erupts, right, with your comment, because they are trying to rage bait people into, so that they get more people looking at their stuff or whatever the case may be. But I just feel that it takes the whole subject and dilutes it and makes it a joke.
I can see where you think that. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. because we had a guy in here last night, William Lunsford was our guest, who's literally one of the nicest people you could ever meet in this field. He's retired. Guess what he does 3 to 5 days a week? He's out in the forests of Arkansas. Yes, I know it's Arkansas, but I prefer to call it Arkansas because it's more fun. So he's in the forest of Arkansas 3 to 5 days a week. And he's talking about his evidence. And, you know, when you're on the radio, it's kind of hard to show evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to show footprints, castings, or hand castings, or hair samples, or photographs, or whatever on the radio. You know why? Real simple. Radio audience can't see it. So this guy comes into our YouTube chat, and he's like, this guy is a liar. He's lying because he cannot show us proof. Said, dude, this is on the radio. How can our radio audience of 300,000 plus see his evidence? Said, if you don't understand the show or the concept, don't comment. Never saw that guy again. In fact, I think Jules in the chat room probably kicked his butt out for being a wiener.
Yeah. I get it.
So I think you really have to, you know, there's so many people, and look, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly about taking these subjects seriously, because there is too much silliness in this. And I believe there are a lot of characters, public characters in this field, who take advantage of that seriousness to make a buck or two. And we're talking the bigger names, not the smaller names. But that being said, I think realistically, if I'm correct on this, to sit there and take the time to get angry or rage bait, as you called it, over somebody telling what they have learned, I think that's where it gets a little bit too much. Calling people liars when you don't know them.
Yeah.
Right? You've never stood in my shoes. I've never stood in your shoes. Who am I to say that your experiences are bogus? Because you're going to be able to tell whether somebody is being genuine or whether they are trying to pull your leg. Or in some cases, pull both your legs.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of that.
We do. Yeah, I'm the type of person where somebody says, well, that's 30 inches long. And I'll say, well, that's 30 inches and a quarter, because I like the exactness of things, right? When stories are being told about things that have happened, or, you know, I want that definitive, you know, exactly the right thing.
You want the accuracy.
I need that accuracy. It's, you know, that's how my brain works, is with that accuracy. So that might be, I know I've got a problem with that. I mean, what does it matter if it's only, you know, a quarter inch or whatever, when you're talking about something? But for me, it's almost like a lie if you don't say it exactly correct, or if you're off, you know what I mean? And that might be a little bit of a problem that I have that I need to work on, but that's just where I'm at.
No, but hey, what you're saying is, look, you're not saying people shouldn't have fun. What you're saying is, if you're going out in the field, just be accurate and honest with your measurements.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't mean just measurements. Being accurate about the story that you're telling as well, because sometimes in those small little details, they can get to be such a bigger, they can lead to more, You know what I mean? More evidence, more accuracy, more where things can be put together. You know what I mean? The story can be told. Sometimes it'll be told in those minute measurements or those minute points that you didn't bring up or where you weren't accurate. But somebody can figure it out if you are accurate.
It's like measuring footprints.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, gather as much evidence as you can and get it out, and hopefully somebody will come along and say, "Hey, did you think about this? This correlates to that, and here's the data." So having good data is very important.
One final topic for tonight, Lee, for you.
Yes.
Is apparently the U.S. House included in Eric Burleson's UAP Disclosure Act. They included it in the $1.15 trillion fiscal year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, passed on July 22nd on a 216 to 212 vote. The amendment makes public release the default for UAP records like videos and reports, requiring agencies to send them to the National Archives with an independent board holding subpoena power to review secrecy claims. Eric Burleson from Missouri fought off objections to shift from automatic classification, though the bill now faces the Senate reconciliation where past efforts have faltered. He urged public pressure on senators to keep the provision intact. What's your thoughts about this?
It didn't pass the Senate last time. It got hung up again. So it seems that things can pass the House very easily. But the Senate's where things go to die, is what it seems like to me. No, it's huge if it gets passed. That means people can come out and say, "Hey, this is what happened. This is what I saw. Here's the report." And they're not going to get trouble, for coming out with the information. And that's huge. I mean, this disclosure movement that we're in right now with the videos that are coming out and all of that documentation and everything through the White House, it would be such a larger tranche of information coming from all these different branches of the government, from all these pilots, from so many other people that have seen things. If we can get this passed, it just would make things so much more fun, and it wouldn't be this thing that we've got going on right now with this next tranche coming up, right? Holy cow, would this open the door? I mean, if you had a scientist somewhere in Los Alamos who says, "Yeah, we got a hangar right here and there's a craft inside of here, and this is how we believe it works, and here's photos of it, and see, you can see the rivets right here, and or seams or no seams, or whatever that is." That's the kind of thing people really want to see right now. Is an actual craft close up on the ground. That's what we want.
That's what we want. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, as much as I don't like him talking about UFOs because it's weird, and he's been such a thorn in our sides, us being the UFO community, I do agree with him in one perspective, that right now words are not good enough. Basically, he said, "Show us the craft, show us the aliens. No more pictures, no more videos. Okay? Show us them. If they're there, show us what's there."
Yeah, and then we get into the shock factor again if you show an ET, right? I mean, I don't know that we're ready for that portion of it, but show us the craft, because a craft I think people can handle no matter who you are. But an ET is another subject entirely.
I normally agree with you on that, but I think deGrasse Tyson is right on that one. I really do. If it's there, show us. Stop giving these WWE type promos about you should know what I know. You should see what I see. Right?
We need to work up to it.
We're done with the cliches.
We need to work up to an actual ET.
I agree, but let's just focus on craft here for a secondly.
Yeah.
Okay. Even with the craft, take away the ETs, show us a spacecraft. Show us a real one.
I'm ready. Absolutely.
And I agree with you. I think people could absolutely handle seeing a craft over aliens.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about everybody that would be clutching their pearls if they actually showed an ET, and how many people would be like, well, what do I do with that? I mean, how can you comprehend what you're looking at even? At that point in time, they're going to be scared. They're going to be terrified.
I agree. I mean, look at the movie Signs. That would be a good representation of what will happen with people. When the beings started trying to take over the planet, but right at the beginning. You remember that scene that was allegedly down from Brazil where the kids are having a birthday party and the tree branches start shaking, and then they go to the window, and that's where the being starts walking and gives that like Sasquatch type pose outside the window. People aren't ready for that.
No,
People are not ready for that at all.
We need to work up to that.
Exactly, we do. Exactly, we do. But a craft, I would agree. I would agree. Show us a craft. Show us something. You know, the problem that we'll have then, Lee, is everybody will say they built this on purpose. We're so naive now. We're so fickle. They'll say, that's not real.
Well,
that's not real. That was built in Lee Strauss's garage.
Then they can show us a severed arm from, the Roswell crash.
No, that would scare people. That would scare people. Now you're getting into
not
the
as
alien
much.
thing.
Not as much of something moving across the screen that they've never seen before would be a lot more terrifying.
Very true. Lee, we're going to say goodnight to you, my friend. Thank you for another great show. I know your back was killing you, but you battled tonight. You trudged on through right to the end as we say goodnight to Lee. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright with Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friend,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Extra Small.
Oh, brother, you had the floor, my friend. I was just mopping up the pieces.
Oh, you did great. You did great.
Yeah. So you're talking about the signs, and I remember that arm coming under that door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I love a good horror movie. Holy smokes, do I? I mean, that's one of my guilty pleasures is watching a good horror movie. But I'll tell you, that kind of stuff right there, because I've seen things, you know, it's a little bit more visceral. And I can't imagine what people would go through seeing a video of an actual ET moving around, walking or standing, you know.
Oh yeah. Fully agree. Fully agree. Yeah, I mean, imagine it's kind of like the fear people would have would be like seeing FAP in public. You know, FAP in the chat room. He's highly unattractive. So, I mean, that fear would be pretty much the same. You know?
Yeah. When does the weekend show start?
The weekend show is going to be coming in a couple of weeks. We just got to get Everett all hooked up to the right computers, the right timing. Got to get his setup going. We're probably looking as early as not maybe this coming weekend or the next, just to get him warmed up as we're working on it, but it won't start on the radio side until he's comfortable. So yeah.
Okay.
Because we now have, I think, 4 of our radio stations are also running replays on the weekends now.
Okay.
Vernal is, Kelowna is, I believe, Apache Junction is, and who is the other one? Mississauga. No WABC show on Friday. Joe, you were asking when the next Flight 21 videos are coming out. Good question. We were working on them today. We're just getting them into editing here. They will be released about every 2 weeks. So that way we can carry them over the winter for you guys. So I hope you guys are excited. Everett's really excited. And he's going to do amazing. Smart guy. Smart guy. Are you going out? Are you going out in the forest this weekend? Or are you actually going to sit home and relax your back?
I really want to get, I was just going to talk to you about that. In fact, I really want to get out there, man. Holy cow. But my back is so bad right now. Yeah, just getting up to get in here in the studio was a lot. But once I'm up for a while, then I'm okay. But it takes a bit. It does. And driving out where I want to go is like a 3.5 hour drive. And so I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. I think that's going to be a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, I'm worried about our team with the forest fire smoke.
Well, that's the other part of it. Exactly. Out in the spot where Jackie and I had our encounter, I mean, where there's fires out there now. And so there's fires everywhere. What am I talking about? But yeah, it's not easy to get around that. And fires they'll give me migraines too. The smoke is not good for you.
No, it's not healthy for you.
Mm-mm. It's not at all.
I'm day 5 right now without any Pepsi or Tim Hortons.
You know what? That's amazing.
I know.
My one of my guilty pleasures is a corn dog. I like a good corn dog, and
Corn
so
dogs are good.
To hunt around for a place that has really good corn dogs is kind of a thing for me.
The best ones are still at county fairs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they do have like a little shop in the middle of a strip mall area or whatever that has them, and so when I see it, definitely have to stop and try one.
I like a good corn dog.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, that shit's good. That shit is really good.
Yeah.
I almost broke down today and got a Pepsi. Went out for dinner tonight. Ordered a pulled pork sandwich.
Oh, yum.
With a poutine. And the pulled pork tasted rancid.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I only got one bite in. And I was like, nope. There's something wrong here. So I called over the server and she's just a sweetheart. I said, I hate to do this, but I'm going to be that asshole right now. And I said, this tastes rancid and I don't think the meat is good in it. And so she takes it back to the chef and she's like, do you want something else? I said, I'll try the tacos. Because I was debating between the pulled pork sandwich and the tacos. So she apologized. I'm like, no, don't apologize. I apologize for pointing it out because I always feel bad. Restaurant people work hard. And the last thing that they want to do is get a meal turned back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And especially because there's a lot of finicky people out there who think they can treat server staff like garbage.
Yep.
My potato is 1 degree too hot. I want my money back and you're not getting a tip. Right? Don't need that shit.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's not cool.
So, long story short, she brings me the tacos. And by God, I almost had a tear in my eye. Whatever sauce they were using, it had a hint flavor of Taco Bell.
Oh.
And I said to Tracy afterwards, I said, I just found my new favorite item on your menu. I said, when you see me, just order it now. Just put the order in.
Oh.
Yep, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. But I got to bring some hot sauce down there because their hot sauce, all they use is Frank's. Frank's is good. I'd put that shit on anything, just like the commercial says. But the taco, sometimes you want to get it going. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know
tacos.
I know you like that hot crap. I can't stand the real hot stuff.
Gizmo. Dave, I was thinking of coming your way next weekend, but the fire is questionable and it's past my bedtime now. And hello and everyone. Good night. Okay, let me know, Gizmo. Let me know. I'll let you buy me an ice cap. Because if it comes with someone else, it doesn't count, right? But you know what all of a sudden I have been craving lately? Dairy Queen strawberry shakes. You ever had a strawberry milkshake from Dairy Queen?
I have not.
My God, they use real strawberries in there. Like at certain times, that the strawberry chunks will get caught in the straw, and you can't get milkshake out, especially if you're using a paper straw, because Lord knows only in Canada and California can you think, and maybe Washington and Oregon too, because they're stupid there too in politics. Okay. But only in the West Coast politics, from California right through British Columbia, can you think it's really smart to put your beverages in a plastic container with a plastic lid, but the straw is the fucking problem.
Yep.
The
Those
paper
things just
straw is the
dissolve.
problem.
They dissolve.
You have to be some kind of idiotic moron. Okay. I don't like getting political. I don't. Okay. But you have to be some sort of idiotic moron to think that a paper straw is doing more damage to the environment than the cup and the lid of your favorite beverage from Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Starbucks, Tim Hortons, or whatever.
Well, think about the chemicals that are in that stuff. And
100%.
Yeah.
Right? 100%. Where is El Ovni Volador? I haven't seen him in a long time. I have not seen him in a long time. I heard he's been on the Lucha Libre circuit down in Mexico, and that prick can stay there. He can stay there for as much as I'm concerned.
Do you think he's going to show up at Caribou Con?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope not. I don't need the weekend ruined.
No. Yeah, that might be pretty rough.
I heard he's been hanging out with somebody new, though.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Mm-hmm.
You know what really pisses me off about that?
What's that?
People think I'm El Ovni Volador.
Well,
I don't like that.
He does have your gait.
He doesn't not have my gait.
He does have your gait.
Not him. I never want to be him. El Ovni Volador is rude. He's pathetic. And I once saw him actually grab an ice cream cone from a kid sitting in a stroller.
That's what I would expect of him. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Look at Lex Diaz. We know, Dave Scott. We know. No, you don't know, because I am not him. I am not him at all. So I don't know how you think you know, and that you're smarter than me, who knows what I do and what I don't do. Say the 24th, yeah. So shame on you for saying that.
Remember to buy some peanuts, my friend, so you can take them out in the woods with you.
Yes. And William Lunsford, first recommended by Nicole Sackich, but confirmed by William Lunsford, also says you should have chalk out there and maybe a little chalkboard.
Interesting.
Apparently they like chalk and chalkboard.
I never thought about that. I've tried like wind chimes and different things to see if they'll play with stuff like that, but have had no luck.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying, man. I got to get some chalk. Not going out until Sunday. So.
Yeah, I want to get out there back to my spot. I found a new spot less than a mile away from the incident location, and it's even better than where we were. There's a bigger stream running right through camp, right through the middle of camp, and there's this grassy area on one side and on the other before you get into the trees.
Well, careful. You know what happens in grassy knolls.
It's a good spot. But I need the time to go out there and do it without a forest fire coming through.
I wonder if there's any new updates here. Hold on. Let me check here. Oh, that's close to the highway. This was taken by a friend of mine. Oh, no. What are you doing, Dave? What are you doing? This was taken by a friend of mine tonight.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting closer to the highway. That's at 140 mile. So that's 32 miles north of me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at mine now too. And just trying to see where they're at, because I don't want to get caught in something. I'm still on the fence about going because of my back, so
I don't think you should. You've been pushing yourselves pretty hard. You know? You really
yeah, but I'll feel bad for not going out.
Well, then go. You have heated seats?
I have heated seats in my truck, yeah.
Then you'll be good. Just keep your heated seats on.
That's a good idea. I never thought about that. That'll work.
Yeah. Moody. Dave, grassy knolls are a great spot. Lee, yes, they are. And the CIA nod in approval.
Uh-huh.
That's how we roll. Well, boys and girls, I'm going to go to bed. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Don't forget Dirty Filth tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Pacific. I will be back on Monday, where my guest will be Lon Strickler. Then we have Lance Dorell. And then on Wednesday, I'll type this in, Swamp Dweller. Marla Ventura is going to be off for a couple of months, dealing with some family stuff. Don't worry, she's okay. She's okay. She's going to be off this month and next month. So we'll probably have Brian Bowden in there covering for Varla the next 2 months. And we go from there. Lee, going to bed.
Me too.
Good night, buddy.
Good night.
I love you guys. I love you. Love you all. Especially you. You. I love you. Love you. Love you.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.